My husband told someone he was out with his little sister. He doesn't have one. We've been married 9 years, 2 kids, a dog, a mortgage. I thought I knew everything about this man. Not the surface stuff. I mean the deep stuff. The stuff that only comes from years of living inside the same walls as someone. I knew he hated the smell of fresh paint. I knew he always checked the back door twice before bed. I knew he cried at the end of Toy Story 3 and then immediately changed the subject. I knew him, or I thought I did. Last Tuesday, he offered to take our 3-year-old to the park so I could get through a deadline. I was swamped with work, didn't even look up from my laptop when they left. I just said have fun and went back to my screen. Normal Tuesday. Nothing in the air. Nothing that made me stop and think twice. He came home a couple hours later, gave me a kiss on the top of my head, started making lunch. Our son was dirty and tired and happy. The most ordinary afternoon we'd had in months. I didn't think about that afternoon again until Sunday. We were at our neighbor's block party, the kind where everyone's standing around in the cul-de-sac and someone's husband is manning the grill and there are too many folding tables. I was talking with Deborah. She lives 3 houses down. Her youngest is in the same soccer league as our oldest, and we were just chatting about nothing in particular. Then she goes, I saw your husband at the park last week. She's smiling, completely relaxed. She says he was with his sister. Said she seemed so sweet, young, petite, long, dark hair. I smiled back at her. I don't know how. I smiled and said, oh wow, yeah. And then I changed the subject because my heart had just dropped straight through the pavement. My husband is an only child. Not in the sense of we don't really talk to his siblings. I mean, his parents had 1 child, and that child was him. There was no sister. There was never a sister. There is not a single woman on this planet who could be mistaken for his sister because he does not have one. I spent the rest of that party running through every explanation I could think of. Maybe Deborah misheard him. Maybe he was talking to a stranger and she misread the situation. Maybe it was a joke that got lost. I cycled through every version that didn't mean what I knew it probably meant. I gave myself a full hour of that. An hour of trying to logic my way into something innocent. By the time we got home, I was done trying. I found him in the backyard pushing our son on the little plastic swing set. That ridiculous yellow one he spent an entire Saturday assembling in the rain. Our oldest was riding his bike in circles on the driveway. Perfect Sunday evening. The kind I used to look at and feel genuinely lucky. I walked up and said, hey, so Deborah mentioned she saw you at the park last week. Said you were with your sister. He stopped pushing the swing. Not like a normal pause. A full stop. Every bit of motion went out of his body. He stood there with his hand still raised where the swing had been, and he didn't say anything for what felt like a very long time. Then he turned around and looked at me and said, can we put the kids to bed first? I want you to sit with that sentence for a second. Can we put the kids to bed first? Not what sister? Not what are you talking about? Not Deborah's confused. That was just someone I bumped into. Just, can we do this after the kids are asleep? That's not what an innocent person says. An innocent person is confused. An innocent person asks questions. An innocent person doesn't need the children out of earshot before they can answer you. I said yes. I helped with baths. I did the whole bedtime routine on autopilot. Read the book. Turned off the light. Pulled the door almost all the way closed the way our youngest needs it. The entire time I felt like I was operating from somewhere outside my own body. Just moving through the steps. Just getting to the other side of bedtime so we could finally sit down. He was already at the kitchen table when I came downstairs. Hands flat on the table in front of him. Just staring at them. He told me he'd been seeing someone for 8 months. Said he hadn't planned it. Said it started slow and he didn't know how to stop it and then he was in too deep to know how to tell me. Said he'd been trying to find the right moment. Said he was sorry. Said that part more than once. I asked him who she was. He told me she was our son's preschool teacher. He drops our son off every single morning. I don't know what I said after that. I know I didn't scream. I know I didn't throw anything. I just sat there and tried to figure out what you're supposed to do with information like that. 9 years, 2 kids, a dog, a mortgage, and the person he was sneaking around with was someone he met in the drop-off line. He's in the basement now while we figure out next steps. I keep thinking about that Tuesday. How ordinary it was. How I didn't even look up when they left.